Claire, and I'm going to be talking about the Teach, Test, Teach model that I created for Kira. Kira is the girl that I created when we did our dynamic assessment in assignment 8, and I'm going to be using her for this part of the project. She's a second grade student, and based on the dynamic assessment that I created in assignment 8, Kira struggles with fluency, she struggles to chunk words into meaningful units, she's unable to change her tone while reading, and the lesson plan that I'm choosing to do and create a lesson for is types of sentences. So either a command sentence, an exclamatory sentence, or a question sentence. And I think for most students, for most second grade students, this lesson is fairly easy. It's often completed in the beginning of the year. They pick it up without much of a struggle. But because Kira struggles with changing her tone while reading, and she's unable to do that, as well as chunking words into meaningful units, I thought that this might be a topic that she would struggle with. Now, to pre-test her, she already had the Dybels oral reading fluency test. That was just in general, it was just to see her reading scores. And she also had the retail fluency test, and what we found was that the oral reading test had higher results. When things were read to her and she had to answer questions based on that, she did much better than if she had to read it herself. The pre-test that I would give all the students looks like this. It is just 10 questions, and the directions are read the sentences, provide the correct punctuation for each. I would give all of the students this pre-test just to see what information they may already know about this topic, or to see if they even know what punctuation is. By this point they should, but just to check to make sure that they know. Now, I would also meet with Kira one-on-one. I would give her conferencing while we went over this test, and since she does struggle, she gets very distracted easily, I would either cover each sentence at a time, or I would give her a different pre-test that had one sentence on it each, where she could just focus on that one sentence, and she could go from there, just to see how she does with reading it. I would even read them out loud to her during the conference if I saw that she was struggling a little bit, just to see if she knew anything about types of sentences, punctuation, see if she has improved since I last took the test, the retail fluency test, and then we would go on with the lesson. Now, the lesson I would teach the same way that I would teach to all my students. It would be a very kinesthetic lesson. Kira benefits a lot from movement and from changing things constantly. Interactive, it would hold her attention more. Now, Kira works very well with her classmates. So what I would do is during the lesson I would have them do group work, and during that group work I would allow Kira to be the spokesperson for that group because she's a natural leader. So she would be able to be the spokesperson. Her group would tell her what to say, and then she would tell the class their answers. This way she doesn't have to worry about reading or being put on the spot. They would work together, and then she could be the spokesperson since she is a natural leader in that way. Now, for tiering during their independent working time, I would conference a small group. We would be sitting together for guided instruction. I would model reading the sentences that are in the packet for the independent reading time, and then the students would model it back for me. They would have to say it back for me. I would give them clue cards to help them. Now, these clue cards look like this. They have different marks on them, 3 of the marks that we need. So, for example, the first one is an exclamation point. It would have the exclamation point on it. It would say the clue word, in this case, which is exclamation, and then it would give an example. So, for example, I love this song, and it would have an exclamation point. I would do the same thing for the question mark and the command. The children could look at these anytime during their independent instruction to help them to refresh their memory or to help them focus on exactly what punctuation mark does what. Now, after the lesson and after the instruction, I would first look at her answers for that. I would look at Kira's independent work and see how she did. Then I would give her a post-test. It would be very similar to the pre-test. It would have about 10 sentences where the children would have to write the correct punctuation for each sentence, but they would also have to choose what type of sentence it is, whether it's a command, a question, or an exclamatory. And they would also come up with their own. They'd have to come up with 5 different examples of exclamatory, question sentences and command sentences. I would read these to Kira. I would let her do them one at a time, just like I would the pretest. This way she could focus on just one question at a time, not all of them. And I would check to see if there was any improvement between the pretest and the post-test to see if the lesson had any effect on her. If there wasn't any improvement, I would have to either come up with a better plan or a better strategy for her and try it again. Now, if there was improvement, and based on the dynamic assessment, this type of work with her does seem to help, I would continue doing this with each assessment and everything. As long as I had the time and was able to, I would continue doing this with her every single time that she had any kind of assessment to take, whether it was a test or something else. And I would slowly start, if I saw the improvement, I would slowly start to pull away a little bit and allow her to not solely rely on my support. And that's it. That explains the teach test part of my dynamic assessment, and I hope you enjoyed it.